After years of guilt tripping, my husband's parent announced, "We're moving in with you. It's your duty to take care of us." My husband sighed, "We can make it work." I smirked, pointed at their suitcases, and said, "Funny, because I just booked you a one-way trip somewhere else." Their shocked silence was priceless. Alright, so here's the story of how my in-laws tried to move into my home without asking, and how I sent them packing before they even got the chance to unpack. This isn't some overnight thing. This was years in the making. Years of guilt tripping, manipulations, and them slowly testing boundaries, pushing further each time. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know when. But when it finally happened, they never saw my response coming. I married my husband, Mike, 7 years ago. His parents, Robert and Diane, were those people who always had to remind you how much they sacrificed and how hard they had it. It didn't matter that they were financially stable, with a fully paid-off house in Orlando, Florida, and a decent retirement fund. No, according to them, they were two poor souls abandoned by their ungrateful children. They brought it up every single time we saw them. "Mike, do you know how much we struggled to raise you? All we ever did was give, give, give. And now look at us. One day, you'll regret not spending more time with us." And my personal favorite, it's a parent's job to take care of their children. But when the roles are reversed, suddenly nobody wants to step up. Mike, being the decent guy that he is, would always feel bad. He's a good son. He calls them regularly, he visits as often as he can, and he even helped them with some of their house repairs last year. But it was never enough for them. To them, he owed them his life. And me? Well, I was the evil wife who stole him away. The comments about family obligations got worse over the last couple of years. At first, it was subtle. Diane would joke about how, one day, they might just pack up and move in with us because, Florida is getting too lonely. Then, the jokes turned into suggestions. We were thinking, maybe we could move closer. Maybe to your neighborhood? Then the suggestions turned into statements. It would just make sense for us to move in with you too. It's better than us rattling around in that big old house alone. By the time Diane started throwing around the word duty, I knew what was coming. Friday evening. A normal, peaceful night. I had just sat down with a glass of wine when I heard a knock. Mike got up to answer it. I heard his confused "Mom? Dad?" before they pushed past him and into the apartment. And there they were. 4 giant suitcases. Diane clasped her hands together like she was making a grand announcement. "Surprise! We're moving in with you." I stared at them. I blinked. I looked at the suitcases. Mike rubbed his temple and let out a long, tired sigh. "We can make this work," he muttered. That's when I knew. He had already given up before the battle even started. I smiled. Not a nice smile. A cold, slow, calculating smile. "Funny," I said, pointing at their suitcases, "because I just booked you a one-way trip somewhere else." Silence. The kind of silence that rings in your ears. Diane's smile faltered. "Sweetie," she said carefully, as if speaking to a child, "this is your family. Family takes care of each other." Robert crossed his arms. "We raised Mike. Now it's his turn to take care of us." I raised an eyebrow. And he does. But housing 2 extra adults in a 2-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn? That was never part of the deal. Diane's face hardened. "This is our right," she snapped. "It's what's supposed to happen. We're too old to live alone." I turned to Mike, waiting for him to say something. But he just looked miserable. I sighed and looked back at them. "You can stay," I said. Their faces lit up. "For one night. And tomorrow, you're leaving." The light died in Diane's eyes. "What?" "Your new place is already set up," I said, grabbing a brochure from the counter and sliding it toward them. They didn't even look at it. "We're not going to some old folks' home," Robert scoffed. "It's not a home," I said smoothly. "It's a luxury retirement resort with an exclusive members club." Now, that got their attention. Diane snatched the brochure and flipped through it. The glossy pages showcased a gated community with golf courses, spa treatments, and ocean views. It had everything they could possibly want. Hannah, their golden child, had paid the deposit as an early inheritance gift months ago. They had nowhere to argue from. Diane set down the brochure slowly, like she was processing a personal betrayal. "Mike." Her voice was low and dangerous. "You're really allowing this?" Mike hesitated. And for a moment, I thought he was about to cave. But then he looked at me. He saw the way I was standing my ground, completely unbothered by Diane's theatrics. And finally, he let out a long breath and said, "Mom, this is what's best." Diane stared at him, lips pressed together so tight they turned white. Robert was fuming, his hands curled into fists. I took a sip of my wine. "Oh," I added casually, "by the way, we already subleased our apartment for the next 6 months. New tenants move in tomorrow morning." Their heads snapped toward me so fast I thought they'd get whiplash. Diane's face drained of color. "You did what?" "Yeah," I said, setting down my glass. See, we knew you'd try something like this, so we made sure you wouldn't have an option. You either go to your fully paid for resort or find a hotel. Silence. Then, you ungrateful little, all right. I clapped my hands together, cutting her off. You guys must be tired from the trip. You get one night here. But tomorrow morning, your car is coming to take you to your new home. They were too stunned to speak. They haven't unpacked their suitcases. Diane is sitting on the couch, arms crossed, refusing to look at either of us. Robert is on his phone, probably searching for last-minute hotel rooms. Mike looks like a man who just escaped a burning building. I, on the other hand, am enjoying the silence. Tomorrow morning, they're leaving. Whether they like it or not. And the best part? They did this to themselves. Morning comes. I wake up to the smell of burnt toast. Diane is in the kitchen, aggressively banging pots and pans, acting like she's feeding a family of 10 instead of just her and Robert. She doesn't look at me. She doesn't speak to me. She just clatters around like a one-woman protest. Mike walks in, rubbing his eyes. Morning. Morning, I say. Your parents seem to be in a great mood. He sighs. Yeah, Mom's been up since 6. Complaining to herself. Robert shuffles in, sits at the table, and glares at his plate like it personally insulted him. Sleep well? I ask, smiling sweetly. He grunts. Your couch is like a damn rock. Well, lucky for you, you'll be in a king-sized bed tonight at your fancy new place. Diane's grip tightens on the spatula. They're not going, Mike blurts out. Silence. The kind of silence that presses on your chest. I slowly turn to him. What? They're not going, he repeats, eyes darting between me and his parents. Mom says she's not feeling well. Dad's back is acting up. They need time to adjust. Diane groans like she's dying. I feel awful. Robert rubs his lower back dramatically. I can't travel like this. I blink. Then blink again. Okay, I say slowly, so let me get this straight. They were well enough to pack 4 massive suitcases, fly here, carry their bags up the stairs, and cook breakfast. I glance at Diane, who stiffens, but suddenly, they're too weak to sit in a car for a 2-hour ride. Diane gasps like I slapped her. You think I'm faking? Oh, I don't think I say. I know. Mike winces. Robert slams his fist on the table. This is disrespectful. We're your family. And as family, I say sweetly, I'm helping you move into a fully paid-for luxury retirement community instead of crashing in my apartment indefinitely. Diane sniffles loudly. We have nowhere else to go. Sure you do, I say. Your own home in Florida. And that's when it hits me. They didn't sell their house. They didn't lose their house. Their house was still right there in Orlando, waiting for them. This wasn't about needing a place to live. This was about control. I step closer. So, let me ask you something, I say, tilting my head. What was the plan here? Diane wipes a fake tear. We just wanted to be closer to family. I laugh. Okay. So, you just assumed Mike and I would be fine with you showing up unannounced? Robert crosses his arms. We raised Mike. He owes us. Owes? Mike flinches. I nod slowly. So that's what this is about. You think you own him. Diane gasps again, but I'm done with the theatrics. You didn't even ask, I continue. Because you knew we'd say no. And now, you're faking being sick to force us into keeping you here. Diane snaps. Her voice rises to a high-pitched whine. Mike, I told you she'd do this. She's trying to turn you against us. I've seen it from the start. Mike tenses. I stare at her, unimpressed. Nice try. But Mike's not a puppet. Robert shakes his head, turning to his son. Mike. Son, you're really going to let your wife treat us like this? And then, Diane plays her final card. If you make us leave, she whispers, we'll never forgive you. Mike freezes. His face is pale, his hands clenched. I watch as years of guilt claw at him. This is the moment they've been building up to. All the years of, we did everything for you. All the years of, we suffered for you. All the years of, you owe us. And finally, I see something break. Mike slowly looks up. You'll never forgive me? He repeats, voice quiet. Diane nods, eyes gleaming. She thinks she's won. Mike nods once. Then lets out a small, bitter laugh. Good, he says. Because I'm done trying to earn it. Diane recoils like he slapped her. What? Mike looks tired. You've been holding forgiveness over my head since I was a kid. Like a damn hostage negotiation. Robert opens his mouth, but Mike cuts him off. No, you don't get to manipulate me anymore. Diane lets out a choked sob. We're your parents. And I'm your son, not your personal retirement plan. Robert glares. We'll leave, he spits. But don't expect us to ever come back. Mike nods. All right. Diane gasped again. That's it? No begging? No apologies. Mike shrugs. I think I finally realized something. What? Diane snaps. Mike meets her eyes. That no matter what I do, You'll never actually be proud of me. Diane flinches. Robert's face reddens. And suddenly, I can see it. Years of control slipping through their fingers. They realize they lost him. And they lost this battle. Robert stands up so fast the chair scrapes against the floor. This isn't over, he growls. Diane grabs her phone and starts furiously typing. Fine, she snaps. We'll go. But just so you know, we're calling Hannah. I freeze. Because that wasn't part of the plan. Hannah helped set this up. She was on our side. So why did Diane look so smug? Mike frowns. Hannah already knows. She's the one who, Diane laughs. Oh, sweetie. She looks up from her phone, a twisted little smile on her face. Who do you think called us first? My stomach drops. What? Mike stares at her. You're lying. Diane tilts her head. Am I? And then, right on cue, Mike's phone buzzes. He picks it up, stares at the screen. His face goes white. It's Hannah. And suddenly, I have a very bad feeling that we just walked into their trap. Mike stares at his phone, his face pale. Diane smirks, sitting back like she just played the winning hand. Robert folds his arms. Go ahead, son. Answer it. I can feel the tension in the room. Something is off. Hannah was on our side. She helped set up their retirement move. She paid the deposit. So why was she calling now? Mike swallows hard, then presses accept. Hey, he says cautiously. I watch his expression as Hannah's voice fills the room. And immediately, my stomach drops. She's pissed. Mike, what the hell did you do? Mike blinks. What do you mean? They just called me crying, Hannah snaps. Mom says you threw them out on the street like they were trash. I scoff. Oh, give me a break. Hannah hears me. Don't even start, she says sharply. I trusted you to handle this with some respect. But instead, you let your wife, Oh, hell no. Mike bristles. Hannah, this was the plan. We talked about this for months. Yeah, she says coldly. But I didn't expect you to be cruel about it. Cruel? I feel my blood boil. Okay, I say, voice tight, so lying about being sick, showing up unannounced, and trying to manipulate Mike into letting them stay forever, that's not cruel? They're parents, Hannah snaps. Yeah, and they're your problem now, I shoot back. She pauses. And then she drops the real bombshell. They're moving in with me. Mike's jaw drops. Wait, what? You heard me, Hannah says. I'm flying them back to Texas. They're staying with me. I laugh. Actually laugh. Are you serious? I ask. You moved across the country to escape them. Hannah's voice is tight. Yeah, well, maybe I actually give a damn. Mike rubs his temple. Hannah, I don't get it. Why would you? And then I realize it. I piece it together in an instant. She's not helping them. She's getting revenge on me. Hannah never liked me. Oh, she played nice in the beginning, but deep down, she always saw me as the outsider. The one who took her big brother away. I should have known. I should have seen it coming. Because Hannah doesn't just help people out of kindness. She does it when there's something in it for her. And right now? Her reward is making my life hell. She knows that if she takes them in, they'll never stop complaining about me. Every time they whine, she'll have more ammo. She gets to play the good child. The golden savior. The one who rescued them from her horrible, ungrateful brother and his evil wife. And worst of all, she wins. Mike is silent. I can see the war inside him. If he argues, it just proves their point, that I've turned him against them. If he agrees, he's letting Hannah win. Robert smirks. Guess we know which kid actually cares about us. Diane dabs fake tears. I just wish we had a son who loved us like Hannah does. Mike finally speaks. Fine, he says. His voice is flat. Go. Live with Hannah. Diane perks up. Oh, honey, don't be upset. We'll still visit. Mike nods slowly. No, he says. Her smile falters. What? No more visits, he repeats. No more guilt trips. No more surprise appearances. If you move in with Hannah, you stay with Hannah. Silence. Diane's mouth opens and closes. Robert's smirk fades. They were expecting to win. They weren't expecting to lose Mike forever. Diane clears her throat. Well, we should get packing then. Robert nods. Yeah, let's not waste any more time here. They start grabbing their suitcases, moving quickly, too quickly. That's when I notice something strange. Diane isn't sad. Robert isn't mad. They're relieved. And suddenly, I get this awful feeling. Something is wrong. Mike notices too. Why are you in such a hurry? Robert shrugs. No reason. Diane flashes a tight smile. We just don't want to be a bother anymore. Mike and I exchange a look. And then, like a switch flipping, I realize what's happening. They never planned to stay with us long term. They knew we wouldn't allow it. They knew we'd fight it. They wanted us to send them away. Because now they get to play the victims forever. Hannah gets what she wants, eternal moral high ground. And Mike? Mike gets a lifetime of guilt. I feel cold. Because no matter what we do, no matter how we react, they already won. And I have no idea how to stop it. Diane and Robert moved quickly. Too quickly. They weren't defeated, they were relieved. I could see it in Diane's posture, in Robert's sudden calmness. The moment we told them to go live with Hannah, their energy shifted. They had already won. I just didn't know how. And that terrified me. Their car was coming in 30 minutes. Mike was pacing the living room, running his hands through his hair. This doesn't make sense, he muttered. Mom never gives up this easily. She should be furious right now. He was right. Diane wasn't arguing. She wasn't crying. She was too busy texting. I stepped forward. What are you doing? Diane looked up with an innocent smile. Oh, just letting people know where we'll be. Who? I pressed. She didn't answer. Then Robert's phone buzzed, and he snorted. Well, looks like it's out there now. A second later, Mike's phone vibrated like crazy. A storm of notifications. Something was happening. Mike unlocked it, and I saw the color drain from his face. Oh my God. He turned the screen toward me. And there it was. A Facebook post. Diane's status update. We never thought our own son would abandon us. But that's exactly what happened today. After everything we sacrificed, after all the years of love and care, he and his wife threw us out like garbage. Thankfully, our wonderful daughter, Hannah, is taking us in. She is proof that true love still exists. We are heartbroken, but we will survive. #family betrayal #unforgivable. The post already had dozens of likes. Comments were pouring in. Aunt Sandra. What? How could Mike do this? Neighbor Karen. I always knew that wife was bad news. Church friend Betty. Disgusting. Sending you love, Diane. Cousin Steve. I can't believe he'd do this to you. My stomach twisted. They set us up. This whole thing, showing up unannounced, faking an illness, forcing a reaction, was all part of the plan. They wanted to be kicked out. They wanted to be the victims. Because now they got to control the story. And we were the villains. Mike exploded. He grabbed his phone and called Hannah. The second she picked up, he yelled. You let them do this? Hannah didn't even flinch. You gave them no choice, Mike, she said. They had nowhere to go. Bullshit, he roared. They have their own house in Florida. They needed family. Hannah shot back. No, Mike said, voice shaking. They needed an audience. And you gave them one. Silence. Then Hannah said, too calmly, what did you expect, Mike? That we'd just let them suffer. I laughed out loud. Oh, come on, Hannah. You know this is fake. She didn't deny it. She just sighed. You and I are different, she said. I believe in taking care of family no matter what. And that's when I realized. Hannah wasn't doing this because she loved them. She was doing it because she loved winning. She wanted Mike to bend, to apologize, to beg for their forgiveness. But for the first time in his life, he didn't. Diane and Robert were gathering their things when Mike stormed back into the room. I hope you're proud of yourselves, he said coldly. Diane blinked innocently. What do you mean, sweetie? You posted about it on Facebook. She put a hand over her heart. Oh, honey. People were going to find out anyway. Mike clenched his jaw. You lied. You made it seem like we kicked you out with nothing. You know that's not true. Robert shrugged. It's our truth. My hands curled into fists. No, it's your version of the truth. And you made sure to spread it before we even had a chance to defend ourselves. Diane dabbed her eyes. We only told people what happened. Did you mention that you tried to manipulate us? That you faked being sick? That you had a whole resort waiting for you but didn't want to go because it wasn't on your terms? Diane just sighed dramatically. It doesn't matter anymore. The damage is done. She was right. The moment she hit post, we lost. Because it doesn't matter what the truth is. People believe the version that makes them feel something. And neglected, heartbroken parents is a better story than manipulative parents who played mind games and lost. Mike took a deep, shuddering breath. Then, in the calmest voice I'd ever heard, he said, You are no longer my problem. Diane froze. Robert's face twisted in shock. Hannah had won this battle. But she lost her brother. Mike exhaled, like he was releasing years of weight. I've spent my whole life chasing your approval. But no matter what I do, it's never enough. So I'm done. You have Hannah now. She can be your puppet. Diane's mouth fell open. Mike, no, he said sharply. You made your choice. Now live with it. Robert looked furious. You're gonna regret this. Mike just smiled sadly. I already regret wasting so much time trying to be a good son to people who only love me when I'm useful. Diane made a last desperate grab for his arm. Wait, please, but Mike stepped out of reach. And just like that, it was over. They left. And even though I knew this was what we wanted, Mike was quiet. I sat next to him, resting my hand on his. You okay? I asked. He swallowed hard. I don't know. Empty? I nodded. That makes sense. We had won the war. That victory felt a lot like mourning. Weeks passed. The Facebook posts spread like wildfire. We got angry calls from relatives. Hannah blocked us. Diane and Robert settled into their new life with her. And for the first time in years, our phones were silent. No guilt trips. No emotional blackmail. No surprise visits. Just peace. One night, as we sat on the couch, Mike sighed. It's weird, he admitted. I thought I'd feel worse. But you don't. He shook his head. No, he said softly. I feel free. And finally, he smiled.